Hello students, today I'm going to give you an overview of sentence structure and sentence types. So here's what we're going to learn today. The different types of sentences, that is simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. Then we'll talk a little bit about incomplete sentences and run-ons. There are three main types of sentences: simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. I'll also talk a little bit about compound complex sentences. For writing level 0, we will focus only on simple sentences. For writing level 1, we begin to discuss simple, compound, and complex sentences. But for students in both levels, it's good to learn and to know the different sentence types. Simple sentences are sentences that have one subject-verb pair. They are one complete thought or one independent clause. They usually follow a subject-verb or subject-verb-object structure. For example, the fish are in the water. You have subject fish, the verb are. Or the man drives the boat on the water. You have the subject, man, drives is the verb, the boat is the object. Some simple sentences have a compound subject. That is, there are two people or there's two subjects. It seems like there are two different subjects. For example, the man and the boy are fishing on the water. Notice how this is still a simple sentence because there's only one subject and verb pair, even though there are two people. Some simple sentences have two verbs. The man drives the boat and fishes on the water. Here it is still one subject and verb pair because one man is doing two things, and he's doing both of those things. These are simple sentences. Next, let's talk about compound sentences. Compound sentences have two subject and verb pairs. In other words, they are two independent clauses. Compound sentences use a comma and a fanboys. For example, she likes pizza, but he likes hamburgers. Notice how we have one subject, she, one verb, likes, and then a complete thought, pizza. She likes pizza. That's one independent clause. Now we have a new independent clause. Subject, he, verb, likes, and what he likes, hamburgers. A complete thought here. And notice in between the two complete thoughts, we have a comma and a fanboys. We will learn more about compound sentences in the next video. Complex sentences have a dependent clause and an independent clause. A dependent clause usually starts with a subordinating conjunction, such as because or while. For example, because it was raining. This is a dependent clause. While I was sleeping. This is a dependent clause also. But a dependent clause is not a sentence. It cannot be by itself. It must be connected to an independent clause in order to make a sentence. Look at the example. He was late to class because it was raining. The next example, I had a bad dream while I was sleeping. Notice how we have a dependent clause at the end of a sentence, because it was raining, and then we have an independent clause at the beginning of a sentence. He was late to class. And same in the next sentence. I had a bad dream, that's the independent clause, while I was sleeping. That's the dependent clause. We will learn more about complex sentences in the next video as well. Now you can also have compound complex sentences, and they combine both independent clauses and dependent clauses. It's a compound sentence and it's a complex sentence. So you should have a fanboys, two independent clauses, and one or more dependent clauses. He was late to class because it was raining and the traffic was bad. Notice here we have one independent clause, he was late to class. Then we have a dependent clause, because it was raining. Then we have a comma and a fanboys. Then we have another independent clause. The traffic was bad. These are much less common for our level 0 and level 1 classes, but I wanted to introduce them to you for your future progress. Incomplete sentences are missing a subject or a verb, or they are not complete thoughts. You should have studied this already earlier in class. They are also called fragments. These are mistakes. These are problems. Here are some examples. He funny. That's not a sentence. There's no verb. It should be he is funny or he was funny. Went to the store yesterday. It's not a sentence because there's no subject. It should be we went to the store yesterday, or they went to the store yesterday, or Fred went to the store yesterday. Now the last one is a dependent clause, because he was hungry and out of food. It's not a complete thought and it's not a sentence. Even though it has a subject and it has a verb, it's not a complete thought. What did he do because he was hungry and went out and was out of food? What happened? We need to complete that thought. Maybe we could say, he went to the store yesterday because he was hungry and out of food. That is a complete sentence. Run-on sentences are usually compound sentences that are missing a comma and or a fanboys. These are mistakes and you should avoid them. Look at the example. Sarah likes to play basketball, Bob likes to play tennis. Notice how there should be a pause here because we have two different thoughts. So the correction should go like this. Sarah likes to play basketball, but Bob likes to play tennis. Notice how even in my speaking it sounds different when I read it the second time, when it's written correctly. Run-on sentences could also be two sentences without correct punctuation. That means they're missing a period or an exclamation point or a question mark, and they're missing a capital letter. Look at this example. The weather is very nice today. We went outside to play. Notice again how when I read it, it sounds all jumbled together. Now look at the correction. The weather is very nice today. We went outside to play. Notice how there's a natural pause in between these two separate ideas. That's where you should put a period, because we have one complete thought, the weather is very nice today, and then another thought, we went outside to play. That was a very quick overview of the different clause structures in our different types of sentences. Please watch the next videos to learn more.